Hello all heroes and welcome back to Invincible Guarding the Globe, and today we're going to be doing what I'm referring to as Intermediate Guide Part 2 Chapter Skill Ups, because every character, minus our Lord and Savior Flax the Soldier and the other common characters, every single character has skill level up potential. And it can be intimidating because there's two factors. One, there's a lot of them. There's a lot of skills to level up. Each character has 4 skills. Each skill has 10 level ups. That's 40 level ups right there, and that's only on one character, and they are not cheap in terms of resources. Molecular enhancements are a shockingly rare resource. It's gotten a teensy-weensy bit better over time, but the simple fact of the matter is that these bad boys are tough to get. They are very tough to get. So let's talk about molecular enhancements and skill rank ups. Now, the first and foremost reliable way to get these materials is the well done GDA op all the way down at the bottom. You'll notice it's at the bottom because this was actually not a thing when the game was first conceived. When it was globally released, there were not actually skill ups in the game. Although, funny enough, there was one very brief buggy patch that went out where everybody got their, maximum skills. So clearly they were cooking it up for a while. They just hadn't gotten there yet. So this is the GDA op that specifically gives these materials. Blue molecular enhancements and pink molecular enhancements. And if you think those are a lot like our current XP system, yeah, you're exactly right. That is exactly what it is. The blue is the standard, and then the pink is what you get every few breakpoints. You don't need as much of the pink molecular enhancements, but on the flip side of that, the pink molecular enhancements are a lot more rare, and that is going to get very difficult to say in a hot second here, but that's okay. So that's the standard way. Additionally, the weekly Cecil's Nightmare event, praise the fish, the weekly Cecil's Nightmare event actually does give molecular enhancements. This is actually probably your greatest source outside of GDA ops. The GDA ops, something you can always rely on. This thing, I mean, you get it once a week, but it is a pretty good infusion. Additionally, you also get your XP, your dossiers, all that good stuff. So even outside of the molecular enhancements, this bad boy is just good to do. Other nightmares will have molecular enhancements, like especially these hero nightmares. Of course, that can be a little more on the whale baity side, but that's neither here nor there. Point is, nightmares are your other best way to get molecular enhancements. Other than that, you can get some in the equipment shop. It's rare, and I don't think you even get them immediately. Like, if we take a peek at what I'm at, the chance of grabbing molecular enhancements are 2%, which is not very high. If we go back a bit, let's see how long it takes us to even unlock the option, much less have any kind of consistency to it. Let's go to 8. Okay, so we're at 0.05 at level 8. Let's check out level 7. Okay, there you have it. Level 8 is when you can get molecular enhancements from this shop, and they are rare. The good news is that if they pop up for money, for gold, I should say, they're very cheap. They're like a couple million, I think they're like 8 million gold, which is not actually that much. So if they do pop up, they're easy to get. If it's gems, then you're just kind of crap out of luck unless you use one of the orange catch-all tickets. But that's the other way you can get it, but it is only once you get your equipment shop leveled up and with a noteworthy amount of luck. The final way, if we go to GDA passes here, is the progression pass does have a decent pile on the freebie side. We do have 20 right there. I think this is actually a limit of 2, so I think it's technically 60, but I could be wrong. The point is, even if you're not getting the paid side, you can actually get a noteworthy pile from this pass here, but that's only like every 2 weeks. So that's kind of an extra little bonus as opposed to a reliable source. So you have your skill materials. You're starting to accumulate them. Now comes the big question. Who to level up? Whose skills should you level up? Should you level up all their skills? Should you level them up all the way? Well, to those last two questions, not necessarily. Not all skills are created equal. Some are really good, some give mediocre improvements at best. Let's talk Universa real quick, and we're gonna have our Universa propaganda hour here. But the simple fact of the matter is that her fourth ability here, Tripping the Light Fantastic, is such a good ability because it effectively makes her a mass AoE character every time she gets a crit. This thing goes crazy in Cecil's Nightmares, in Arena, in GTA Ops. If there is one ability in this entire game that I would recommend you take to level 10, it's Tripping the Light Fantastic, Universa's fourth ability, just because of how much it can do. At level 1, it ain't much. It's basically an extra little tickle to one more enemy. At level 10, it can mow down entire waves in a single hit. I'm telling you, this one, you will not be disappointed. And hey, if you need a Universa and you haven't used it already, you can use my code, SHVDYT, shoved YT. Yeah, would appreciate that. Not that it actually does anything for me, funny enough. I'm not sure why I'm saying this is like a... It doesn't actually do me anything, it just makes me feel good. It's for personal pleasure. And you know what? I'm a simple guy. I like what I like, sue me. Point is, Tripping the Light Fantastic is really, really, really good. Additionally, Invincible, Mr. Invincible Mark Grayson himself. He's got quite a few abilities that are amazing. In fact, all of them are pretty much. His top ability here greatly multiplies his damage if you take it all the way to 10, because at level 1, it's 3 hits. At level 10, it's 5 hits, and a shorter cooldown while you're at it. In addition to higher damage and even some lifesteal while he's at it. That is a huge damage boost, almost doubling the damage that this ability can do. If there's a second ability I would recommend taking to level 10, it's this ability. All of his other abilities are worth mentioning too. This one, you don't really have to take it to level 10, but I would give it just a little bit of love. The problem with these passive abilities, the second ability typically, leveling them up is powerful. But for the resources, the level ups can feel underwhelming. Especially when compared to abilities like what we just went over with Universa or Mark's other abilities. Getting a 0.5% or 1% on his passive, while certainly helpful, especially in Arena, it is not mind-blowing. It's not as flashy as some of the other abilities. However, it is good. Quite frankly, all of Mark's abilities are good. His third ability means that he can be shielded longer. Being unable to be hit longer is kinda nice. His fourth ability means he stays stronger longer. That rhymed. That's kinda nice. But you don't necessarily have to take these up to level 10, even though it is certainly profitable. His main ability, though, Supersonic, is probably the one you want to take to level 10 if you wanted to choose one. Now, if we want to talk about a character that's really hard to choose from, Adam Eve. I've taken 3 out of her 4 abilities to level 10, and for very good reason. She starts, I've said it before, I'll say it again. She starts at a low floor, but hits a sky-high ceiling. Her healing is not as good as Robot at base. You crank her up, and she can do some wild stuff. The only ability I have not given a whole lot of love is Blowback, because it demands that you have a team member. Now, if you do have a team member, she can deflect an actual ton of health back at the opponent. But there is still that pretty aggressive restriction. And let's not forget that team is pretty slim. It's Adam Eve and Robot, who is really the only other practical one. And then you've got Duplicate and Rex, both of whom are rare characters in the game, so just not as powerful. Still, if you do run her with Robot, that's a lot of healing, and then you get some damage bouncing while you're at it. If we want to talk other, more specific examples of characters to build up, I'm actually going to point to Seismic. Because Seismic is ridiculous. Seismic does an actual ton of damage. This ability right here, Viltrumite enemies see their energy defense reduced. I actually would not give this a whole lot of love. You could, if you just really wanted to go crazy for Seismic, but 20% is still really good on its own, and again, like I said before, while it is an upgrade, it's really hard to make it feel worth it when you're only getting 2% for the massive amount of resources it takes. So, yeah, maybe pass on that one. Maybe don't pass on these, because Grounded #1, if you get it maxed out, he can stun enemies for up to 3 seconds. Shockwave is one that he will trigger very, very often. This one, here's the kicker with this one. You don't get a massive attack boost, and the stun is still 3 seconds. But the fact that level 10 reduces it down all the way to 10 seconds means that he can bounce around very often and stun very often. So even though it is only a cooldown reduction, that's a nice cooldown reduction. Let's not kid ourselves here. And then of course you have Bow before Doc Seismic, which in addition to having a very nice cooldown at level 10, does just great damage to grounded enemies. This one, however, you could probably stop at, like, let's say, level 7 takes you down to 22 seconds. That's pretty good. But you want to prioritize his 3rd and 4th abilities just because of how often he can do these abilities and how much damage they can do to disrupt the opposing team. Again, this ability, just like his 4th one, can go all the way down to 10 seconds. That's very fast for a stunning cooldown, or a stunning ability, especially considering it stuns for 3 seconds at level 10. So Seismic, don't sleep on him, especially because up until recently, criminals have struggled for relevancy outside of Doc Seismic. So hey, if Seismic is the one cornerstone criminal character there is, you might as well crank him up. You might as well. A couple other honorary mentions. Russ Livingston, if you take his ability up to around level 5, level 6, I forget which one, in addition to getting lifesteal, he gets an invader attack bonus. This works for characters like Universa being the biggest one, I believe a lot of Viltrumites as well. In fact, okay, yeah, so you've got Anissa and Conquest, who are both considered invaders. You'll note that Thulin and Lucan are not invaders, and that's probably because, as far as the show is concerned, they have not actually made their way to Earth yet, so they have not invaded. But Anissa and Conquest most certainly have. And it is kind of amusing because back when Russ first came out with this skill, that skill was like exclusively Universa. And you know what? That was enough. But especially in a post-Anissa and Conquest day and age, yeah, just having even the 15% attack boost at level 5, just having that works just fine, or at level 6. Like, I think it's 10% at level 5, but I could be wrong. Like, you don't even have to worry about his other stuff. I mean, this is all fine and dandy. Like, this one you can ignore. This one's okay. This one's okay. But frankly, his passive is one you want because of that attack boost to some of the best characters in the game. Powerplex is one to consider. His passive is actually pretty good because, yeah, okay, you're only getting some modicum improvements to his percentages. But when those percentages work on characters like Doc Seismic, that can actually take you a long way. So yeah. That's not a bad starting point for your skill ups. Another good tip for skill ups: probably use them on the characters you use the most or your strongest. If you're throwing, the good news is that coincides with a lot of the advice I'm giving, but if you're throwing Universa Invincible and Adam Eve into your arena fights, you might want to give them some skill levels so that they can do even better. Bonus points if you're powering up your top 5. There's also Cecil's Nightmares. There's also GDA Ops. Just some very important things to consider. You want to use these items wisely. They are fairly rare. They have been getting a little bit better over time, but at the end of the day, they are still a rare resource that you don't want to waste. If you invest in the characters that I listed earlier in this video, you will get some pretty good return on investment. But at the end of the day, hey, you know what? If you really wanted to get Rexplode or Danian Darkblood skill up, I mean, at the end of the day, just have fun. But if you are trying to optimize, these tips will serve you well. And yeah, I think we will leave it at that. Let me know if you have any questions down in the comments below, and we shall see you next time. Have a good one.